as we log in. Looking forward to seeing the crew jump on with us. Yes, awesome. As people log in, let me get our watch party started. All right. Yes, here we go. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So, welcome to day 16. And I am excited to be able to have this conversation. Hello, welcome. Give us a wave, give us a thumbs up, give us a heart. Let us know that you are in the place. Welcome. Hello, hello, hello. Awesome. We're streaming in. Yes. Hello, Renata. Awesome. Yes. So as we talk about day 16, I am excited. Thank you for those hearts. Yes. Let us know you are in the place. Hello, Cheryl. Welcome. Nice. So as we talk this evening, we are talking about joy in the middle of the storm. And I'm excited to be having this conversation with this lady. Oh, hello, Melinda. Melinda says hello. Yes. So I'm happy to have this conversation with Bridget Hitchens. And she is an educational consultant out of Atlanta, Georgia. Hello, Kim. Yes, and Betty, welcome. Awesome to see you. Come on in, come on in. Yes, Sean, give us a thumbs up. Make sure you are sharing. Invite some people. Hello, Almitra. Yes, Dale, welcome. Awesome. Make sure that you share, invite some people into the conversation. You do not want to miss this conversation this evening. So Bridget, in true confession, is a cousin, and I have loved on her for years, and we have battled it out for years. Yes. As I still love to call her my baby cousin, even though she's grown now, but she's still my baby cousin. And
that's okay with me.
Why I am excited about having this conversation with her is because I have watched her journey, and in true form of being the older cousin, our lives have paralleled themselves year after year. Benchmarks that I've experienced, I have tried to plant seeds so she doesn't have to experience the same thing that I've experienced. But very early on, I knew that the gift of leadership, her soul. Yes, Celeste. She says, Celeste, Bridget. All friends coming together. Hello, Shayla and Catherine. Yes, Kia, it is day 16. Welcome. Invite people. Come on, get them into the conversation. So as we talk this evening, very early on, I saw the heart and gift and skill of leadership on her soul early on and spoke it into her life. And her response was, what was your response when I said you
don't be speaking to me, just let me live. I ain't trying to go into leadership. I'm good.
No.
Stop embarrassing me.
Don't tell me that. But you know what? How many of you know when you have been gifted with something, you can run if you want to. But when the Lord has touched your life with a gift, He will track you down and bring you under submission to that gifting.
You can either do it the easy way or the hard way.
Sometimes having to do it the hard way brings about storms.
Mm-hmm.
And, so there's a word that continues to circulate in this season. And that word is, and I'm going to share it on my screen. Oh, not this one. Hold this. Yep, here we go. So this word has been circulating a lot over the past week. And I want you to take a good look at this word. So can they see? I don't know that they can see it.
I can see it now.
You can see it, but I don't think they can see it. So hopefully they'll see it in a moment. I think because with between us and Facebook, here it comes.
Oh, okay.
So this word right here has circulated over and over again in conversations. And when we talk about joy in the middle of a storm, this word comes up a lot. But I want you to take a look at this word, and I want you to tell me what's in the middle of the word. So everybody, I want you to take a look at this word. What is in the middle of this word? What do you see in the middle of it? Put it in the comments. What's in the middle of the word anxiety? It's a word that's been used a lot lately. But what's dead center? Exactly, Ivania. Exactly. In the dead center of anxiety is I. Exactly. And when we talk about a storm, that I often is connected to uncertainty, is connected to a lack of control, is connected to not being able to manage outcomes or control what is going to happen in an outcome. And we get so caught up in the I that we forget our God. Actually, in the very verse, 1 Corinthians 7:32, he says, I want you to be free from anxieties. He has said he wants us to be free from anxiety.
Absolutely.
And if he says he wants us to be free of anxiety, then that means we are able to be free from that. And Esther says, which means I need to get my mind off of me. Exactly, Esther. Yes. And Bertina, she saw you now.
Listen, that's why I started laughing. I wasn't laughing at anxiety. I knew cousin was going to show up somewhere. So when I started, that's why I started chuckling.
But as we focus, if we focus so much on the word anxiety, and that I becomes our focus point, we can't adhere to the very instruction he gives us in 1 Corinthians 7:32. I want you to be free of anxiety. And I wanted Bridget to come on because she and her story and life lessons learned has allowed her to have a perspective on how do you move through life in the middle of the storm and shift your focus from the eye of anxiety and still be able to access joy. So, Bridget, share with us, what life lessons have you learned about having joy in the middle of a storm?
Well, I'll start by saying, for those who don't know me, I'm a little bit, maybe a little bit of a control freak. And so, maybe a little bit of a control freak. And so the place where I feel typically the most comfortable are places where I feel like I have control. Like I can dictate what happens. I have control in those spaces. But life has told me there are many areas where I don't have control. And no matter how hard I try, I'll never have control. And so that's why I fall back on my faith. And in those times where that time of my life where control and I was the center of everything I did, anxiety showed up because I was so anxious about not being able to dictate what's going to happen next, how it's going to happen, who's going to be a part of it. And so not being able to have that caused some anxiety. So then one day on my journey, sometime in my mid 20s, I came across this picture called Walk by Faith. And in this picture, I think V is going to show it. In this picture, there is a lady who is blindfolded who literally is just walking, and the hand of God is there in the time of uncertainty. When it looks like the ground is getting ready to fall from beneath you, there is the hand of God there. And in the time in my life where I found this photo, it was a time where I was definitely in this place of trying to control things, and things felt like I needed to be in charge. And I had to realize and let it go. So I felt like through this artist, God told me directly, Bridget, sit down. I got you. And so in that, I realized that an opportunity presented itself for me, an opportunity for me to let go and let God. And in that, I find myself in the eye of the storm. So those of you who live in places that get hurricanes, there are a few things that you know about the eye of the storm. The one thing, if you ever look at the eye of the storm on the map, is that the eye is the place of calm and peace. It is the place where the storm is raging, but right outside of the eye is the most devastating part of the storm. It is, and the further you get from the eye, the storm weakens, but right at the outside of the eye is the devastation. But right in the middle of the eye is sun. And I learned that if I'm in the eye of the storm, rather than focusing on the storm and the winds and the waves and the things around me that I control, I choose to focus on the sun. Because the sun, when Jesus said, told Peter, like, I got you. Why you worried? Like that. And I feel like that's what it is for me. So in the storm, I focus on the sun. I focus on God. I release whatever it is because I can't control the winds. I can't control when something outside, financially happens. I can't control when some crazy virus is shutting down the world and we all got to stay home. I can't control what that looks like. And once I realized that I can't control it, it became a place of peace for me to let it go. And I was like, oh, that's something that I don't have to worry about. We think about like the joy of children and how they just have this like youthful bliss because they don't have to worry about bills. They ain't got to worry about going to work. They just like move in life as they please. And they know that things are going to be taken care of because their parents have them. And so I had to understand that my father has me. I had to realize that and I had to increase my faith to walk into the places where God wanted me because sometimes God's not going to give me the itinerary and I need to be okay with that. And once I realized that that's what was needed, then I started to put into some practice ways for me to remind myself to go back there because my default, because one thing I realized is that lack of control was fearful for me. Fear is an emotion. That's an emotion I can't control. Now, I have a default response to fear, which is to try to control as much as I can to feel like I'm not losing it. But then I have a learned behavior. And I feel like, oh, wait. So now when those things come up, like, oh, there's an app for that. I know what to do in this situation. And so And so that has caused me to shift the way I think. And so instead of just falling into what comes naturally when fear comes on, I now can be intentional about how I respond to it. And that response actually helps me to reduce my anxiety and allows me to have joy when everybody else is fretting about the storm.
And you know what? So I ooh, know what that echo is. I have some comments in the comment box. So first of all, Celeste said, "Stop talking about me in front of everybody."
I know, man. We're spirit animals. Listen, that's how it happens. I've been trying to tell V that, but she don't listen either. So blame her. I got it from my cousin.
So first of all, and it's coming through the comments that this is a truth for a lot of us. So the anxiety rising up when we can't control the outcome or the uncertainty of what potentially could happen, or the what ifs, which we talked about a couple of weeks ago. But what I think is so powerful about what you just shared in recognizing the eye of the storm, and that the sun is in the eye of the storm. And if we focus on the sun, S-O-N, it is an opportunity for our whole being to fall in line with trusting him. And as I was listening to you, if we shifted, you literally explained how in those most chaotic moments, you've decided to let go because you trust the sun. You trust the calm that's around you. And it made me think of Melinda and I were just talking a couple days ago. So, a tornado went through South Carolina, and it went by the house. And for those of you who don't know, Melinda's my oldest daughter. And she shared with me how my oldest grandson, in the middle of all this, so this storm, the tornado winds, she said, were crazy. The sound was crazy. And I want you to imagine a 4-year-old, a little person, who begins dancing in the middle of this tornado. And I laughed with her. I said, because, in child development, that's called secure attachment. Because he's known from past experience that I'm okay, that my mom's going to take care of me. I'm okay. Nothing's going to happen to me. So I can dance in the middle of this. And how powerful would it be if we had secure attachment? Secure attachment that as soon as something happens, we are not shaken like the winds that are around us, because we are securely attached to the SON in the entire process. So we know that he's got us. So Benita says, God is in control, literally cast every care on him. Bertina says, wow, the eye of the storm, there's peace, God is there. Joanne says, amen. I had to pray and pray constantly and ask God to put peace and calm over me at all times. Recognizing when we focus on we are focused on our control and power, when we should be focused on God and his power. He is in control. And so when we talk about practical terms to this, Bridget, what does that look like? What are your key things that keep you focused in the middle of the storm, when you are in the eye of the storm, focused on the SON?
Well, the first thing is an acknowledgement and a chin check. Like, I realize that when I get anxious, and fearful and try to control things, that I'm actually in a tug of war with God. Like God is saying, I got this. I'm trying to take control. And, God is much bigger than me. So that's not a tug of war I'm ever going to win. And so, first, I have to just acknowledge that, like, B, you are in a tug of war with God. And this is a losing situation for you. And you should be on the same side. You shouldn't be on the opposite side. So that's my first acknowledgement. And in that, I then have to tell myself sometimes out loud, be let go and let God. And I have to say it over and over again until my hands listen, to my mind listens, to my body listens, that I like let go. Like I let go of the tension in my shoulders, and I let go of the what if thoughts. Like I let go of all of these things that bring me anxiety that I think will make me feel peaceful because I'll be in control. But in actuality, they just bring me anxiety. And so I have this mantra, let go and let God, let go and let God. And then I have the
Well, wait, pause right there, because that's the whole word. We got hearts just floating up, floating up on the screen. Pause a minute, because that is a whole word. I can see us, people saying, yes, yes. I can see how many of us are in a tug of war. I see our physically in anxiety. You just created this whole analogy for me. Our whole body tenses up, and you just said it is like a tug of war with God. So we, the Almighty God, we got our hands on one end and He's got on the other, and we are creating more and more tension in our body by pulling and pulling and fighting against what He is, what He has for us. And He's like, let go. And we're like, no.
Exactly.
How many of you have had your neck, your arms, your back pain, headache, all from the tug of war? Oh my goodness, it is lighting up. I can't even keep track of all the. Siobhan said, let go. What if I have to tell myself that when it approaching something outside of my comfort zone? Yes. Old school, where the storm is going on, we cut off everything and had to sit still. Exactly.
Yes.
And so I love the visual you created with your mantra, because when we talk about trauma-informed approaches, we talk about mind-body connection. And spiritually, you've decided, I'm going to let God take control. But mentally and physically, break that down again. You say and do what?
So I say let go and let God. I usually, because I am a little hard-headed, have to say it multiple times. So I have to say it multiple times because I have to let that word and that truth overcome this emotional fear and this unknown that I think I'm supposed to know. So I have to say it until I believe it enough. And then I go into this place where I remember my track record. I remember that every time that I've been in a situation of uncertainty, every time that I had fear of the unknown, and I relaxed, even if I relaxed a little bit, because in my infancy, I couldn't let it all go. I might have let just a little bit go. But even in doing that, every single time God shows up in ways that would have handled the situation so much better than I could. And so that gave me confidence to let go a little more and to let go a little more. So now I have this long track record of God saying, listen, I got you. If you let this go, you can chill and let me take care of this and you do you. And so then I said, okay, fine. Now when I find myself in those situations, because I've built up that practice, I see those times of being at a middle of a storm as an opportunity to release. Like it is an opportunity for me. So I no longer fear. I in some ways look forward to it, only because in our life, and this is true, I know for so many women, is that we carry a lot. Like I'm in my life, I carry a lot. I have family things, I have work things, I have personal things, and I just carry so much. And then when things get crazy, there's something that's 100% out of my control. I'm like, oh, that's one thing I can put down. It is an opportunity for me to release it and let it go. And now I find joy when those things arise because they are not things that I have to hold on to. My hands can be a little less full because I'm willing to let go. And I